The river was louder than his thoughts that evening, wild, unforgiving, swallowing everything in its path, and when he saw the woman slip beneath the surface, he didn't think, didn't hesitate, didn't even remember that he had a daughter waiting at home. He just ran, threw himself into the freezing current, and chose a stranger's life over his own safety in a single, irreversible moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing the right thing even when no one is watching, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Stories. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them the most. Armin had never considered himself a hero. He was just a tired single father trying to survive each day without falling apart. Life had not been gentle with him. Ever since his wife passed away 3 years ago, the world had become heavier, quieter, and far more unforgiving. Every morning began with responsibility and ended with exhaustion. His daughter, Sana, was only 6, but her eyes carried questions he often didn't know how to answer. He worked long shifts at a small workshop, fixing machines that were often less broken than he felt inside. But no matter how hard things got, he showed up, for her, always for her. That evening, he had taken a longer route home just to clear his mind. The sky was dimming into shades of orange and gray, and the river ran alongside the narrow path, restless and swollen from recent rains. It wasn't a place people usually lingered, especially not alone. But Armin needed the silence, needed the space to breathe without the weight of expectations pressing down on his chest. And then he heard it, a sharp splash, followed by a desperate movement in the water. At first, he thought it might be debris, something carried by the strong current. But then he saw her, barely visible, struggling, disappearing, reappearing, her arms thrashing weakly against the force of the river. For a fraction of a second, fear held him still. The current was too strong. The risk was too high. He had a daughter. He couldn't afford to make a reckless decision. But some decisions are not made with logic. They are made with instinct, with heart, with something deeper than fear. He ran. He kicked off his shoes mid-stride and jumped into the icy water without a second thought. The cold hit him like a wall, stealing his breath, but adrenaline pushed him forward. The current dragged at his body, pulling him sideways, threatening to take him under. He fought against it, his arms burning, his lungs screaming, his mind focused on one thing, reaching her before it was too late. When he finally grabbed her, she was barely conscious. Her body was limp, her face pale, her breath faint. The river tried to take them both, but Armin refused to let go. He held on to her with everything he had, using the last of his strength to push toward the shore. Every second felt like an eternity, every movement heavier than the last. But somehow, impossibly, he made it. They collapsed onto the muddy bank, both gasping for air, both caught between life and death. Armin turned her onto her side, coughing water from his lungs as he tried to help her breathe. For a moment, nothing happened. The world felt frozen, suspended in silence. And then she coughed. It was weak, but it was enough. Relief washed over him so suddenly that it almost brought him to tears. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know how she ended up there. All he knew was that she was alive. Someone eventually called for help. An ambulance came. Questions were asked. Names were exchanged, though barely remembered. Her name was Mira. She was taken away on a stretcher, her eyes flickering open just long enough to meet his. There was something in that brief moment. Gratitude, confusion, something unspoken, but then she was gone. And Armin returned to his life as if nothing had happened.